All right, in this video, we are looking at how to find the midpoint of a line or of 2 points on a line. We want to do this because we want to be able to determine the point that lies halfway between two other points without actually having to get out a ruler and physically measure what that distance is. So our success criteria here is that we want to be able to recall the formula to find the midpoint of a line and apply that formula when we're given 2 points. Now we're going to start with the special case of when those 2 points form a line that is parallel to an axis, because this is going to kind of help us understand how that formula is built to begin with. So here, obviously, if we want to find 2 points, the midpoint of these 2 points on this line here, so we've got A, which is at the point 2, 3, and B at 2, negative 4. Our midpoint is obviously going to have an x value of 2, because that straight line, both our points have an x of 2. So we can straight away fill in that that's going to be a 2. To find the middle point of 2 numbers, what we usually do is find the average. So we know that the middle is the same as the average of the 2 of them. So the way we find the average is you add them together, divide them by how many there are. In this case, 3 plus negative 4. So 3 plus negative 4, we have 2 numbers there, so we'll divide it by 2. That's going to give us effectively 3 minus 4, so it's negative 1/2. So that becomes the other part of our coordinate there. Now, when our line is not parallel to an axis, there's a bit more that we have to do in there. So here we've got 2 points, A and B, which we've got the coordinates of x1, y1, x2, y2. So we don't know what their coordinates are right now. We're just looking at the general case. And that midpoint, we're going to call point P. That's just going to have the coordinates x and y. Now, the way we work this out is we still have to find the average of the x, and we have to find the average of the y. But Pythagoras is actually what's going to let us do that. So if we think about the average, the distance in x between point A and point P, it's going to look a little bit like that. And we would work that distance out. So the length of that little segment of line would be x minus x1, because obviously x is going to be a bigger number than x1 because it is further positive on the x-axis. So we're going to write that as x minus x1. And if we wanted to find that distance between point P and point B, we've got the same thing, only here that value would be x2 minus x. We can do the same thing with our y. So we've got there, that would be y minus y1, and right there would be y2 minus y. Now, if we want to look at finding the average distance, given that it's the midpoint, it needs to be the same distance away from both points. So P is the same distance away from A as it is from B. So if we think about the x, then we're saying that x minus x1 must be equal to x2 minus x. If we rearrange that, we can write that as 2x is equal to x1 plus x2. So x is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Basically, we're saying to find the length of x, we're going to add our 2x coordinates of our 2 points and find the average of them. So add them up, divide them by 2. We would do the same thing for y, because y minus y1 is going to be equal to y2 minus y. So 2y is going to be y1 plus y2, gives us y equals y1 plus y2 over 2, not over x, that's what I was trying to write. So that makes up our formula for finding the midpoint of a line. So our example here, we've got the formula set up out in the corner here, just so we can remember it, because that's not going to be on a formula sheet. So that's something you need to know. We want to find the midpoint of the line segment that joins point A with point B. So the point 2, 6 with -3, -4. If you wanted to draw that, which you don't have to, but it could help you visualize it, you've got your x and your y. So it's at the point 2, 6, which is going to be up here somewhere, and -3, -4. So down there somewhere. So we're looking for the midpoint, which we think should be around there. So it's likely to have a negative value of x, but obviously that's a rough sketch, so we don't need to worry about it too much. It just helps you visualize what it might look like. So first we're going to go x, let's call a 0.1 and b 0.2. So a will have x1, y1, b will have x2, y2. x1, y1, x2, y2, just so we can help remember it. So x is going to be x1, which is 2, plus x2, which is -3, divided by 2. That will give us 2 plus -3 is -1 over 2. Y, we're going to do y1 plus y2, so 6 plus -4 over 2 is going to give us 6 plus -4 is 2 over 2, which just equals 1. So the coordinates of our midpoint, which I'm going to label P, are going to be -1 over 2 and 1. So that's really all you need in order to find the midpoint of a line segment. You're just going to use that formula right there every time, plug your points in, and it's going to spit out those coordinates for you.